speaker is Dr. Partha Sarthi, who is a young academician who has known Hani Babu since his student days. He has been an active member of DAMSA, which was one of the first Dalit students movement in English and foreign languages university. We hope to hear from him about the Dalit Bahujan perspectives on this whole way of branding and locking up academicians as Maoist. Welcome you, Partha Sarathi, who would like to listen from you. Over to you.
Welcome for everyone. I'm glad and I feel I feel nice to be part of this meeting in solidarity with Professor Hani Babu of Delhi University and a well-known public intellectual on the matters of caste in higher educational spaces, and also in solidarity with others who have been framed illegally. I can share some of my personal experience with Hani Babu, and I should thank Vinay for organizing this very necessary kind of a program. It's an opportunity for me to speak about Hani, and it's very important at this moment. So I will speak mostly about my personal experience with Hani. I was not a colleague of Hani Babu in a sense that Hani was a faculty when I was a student. Hani was teaching at CIEFL, which is now called English and Foreign Languages University. My relation with Hani and Jenny is very close and personal. They offered a very essential comfort to many of the students who come from humble social backgrounds. For someone like me, coming as a first generation student to higher studies from a traditional agrarian family, they offered some kind of belonging, warmth, and kindness. In many ways, Hani was part of a small number of faculty group at EFLU who were open-minded and interested in the social transformation and justice, and well aware of the potentials of the higher educational spaces in terms of transforming the individual and collective lives. The small group of faculty, including Hani, they ensured that the students from the marginalized backgrounds should not be alienated or felt intimidated during their study within the academic space. This egalitarian space at CFL was produced by many, both faculty and students, where caste and gender sexuality issues were constantly debated, and this space served as a site for the formation of new subjectivities for many people, including myself. Feminist ideas played a major role in the formation of such space and often contested on the lines of caste oppression and sexuality. Hani was very close to the students associated with the Dalit Bahujan Minority Students Association of that time. Later, the Adivasi name was included in the title of the organization. The association became super active and sought the attention of the administrators and generated so much public discussion within the campus when there was no social media. Being a general secretary of the DAMSA, I had a very close relation with both Hani and Jenny. They supported the activities of the organization and offered productive criticisms whenever we went wrong. One cannot deny that the experience at CFL had a transformative effects and our habits. This experience is cutting across castes, genders, sexualities, and religions. People learned from different groups, various things, and Hani was also a student of this institution and grew up academically and intellectually around this context a little earlier than the time I'm mentioning, and also continued as a faculty here. Hani, in a way, both was a product of this kind of atmosphere and also active agent of this process within which we all grew. I could say that Hani had a personally continue to have personally a special interest in the growth of some of the most vocal Dalit students on the campus and nurtured them and guided them through from the beginning. Also spoke for students' friendly rules within the universities. He had a generous view that any rules and law within the institution should enable the students, irrespective of caste, not only marginal students, for any students who pursuing the degree, and the laws and rules should accommodate them and enable them to pursue their studies. He had a very humanist approach to law. I can personally recollect many instances where Honey, being a part of some decision-making bodies, and helped students by persuading the committee members to take generous view on various issues. He found good company among some of the EFLU faculty and teamed up with them to work relentlessly for the Teachers Association. And one can say that TA of IFLU, CAFL TA, was mainly brought to work for the EFLU community because of Hani and a few more teachers of CIFL. It is my hunch that by working with Teachers Association that Hani had developed a special interest and skill in engaging with legal provisions and regulations. He developed a special interest in law as a subject matter, and he had lots and lots of patience to read extremely boring legal clauses and provisions. His reading of legal documents are very rigorous, and he continues to do so in Delhi. Some of his talks and writings and some of the videos which are available in Dalit Camera portal would testify that what I am saying, trying to say. It may not be an exaggeration to see Hani Babu as a legal activist who works legally within the constraints of law to improve the law to enable the possibilities of the advancement of most oppressed classes within the society. Not surprisingly, that the original disciplinary interest of Hani was syntax. Not many linguists do syntax, at least in my university. That is understood to be syntax, set of rules, principles, and processes that govern the structures of sentence in a language. Whether it is a language or the social, he was interested in the way things are organized in a particular order and interested in studying the laws that govern this order. He went on to do a degree in law. He studied law. There were these rumors that he might resign this Delhi University post, professor post, and take up law as a professional, he might take up as advocate in the court. So I'm trying to say that there is an intimate connection between law and Hani Babu's activism and interest. This is the Hani Babu we all know, functioning absolutely within the constitutional bounds of this republic. He is a legal man with the legal views, and if you look at his interests in his colleague Sai Baba, it is to enable Sai Baba to access the legal provisions that Sai Baba is entitled to access. It is purely a lie if someone says anything otherwise. The problem Hani is made to face today is not just a problem of Hani Babu. Hani Babu is no more a proper name. He is a generic name. It is a generic name. He represents lakhs and lakhs of people who dedicate themselves to the betterment of SCSTs and OBC students and their education and work strictly within the constitutional frameworks of this country. In fact, these set of people who ensure the existence of the Constitution and contest each legal provision that contradicts the values of the Indian Constitution. This is nothing less than self-explanatory that those who want to uphold the constitutional values are under attack today. Isn't it true that the entire social movements and the democratic forces of this country are making a single most attempt today just to preserve the constitution from the forces who want to overthrow this law and bring another law? I think this is the larger context by which one needs to see the arrest of Hani Babu and others. I will conclude my talk by invoking the Walter Benjamin, the German anti-fascist thinker and philosopher. If not Walter Benjamin, who else can be invoked to talk about Hani Babu? Whether it is a matter of the ideological forces that punished or pushed Benjamin to the wall, or the community Benjamin belonging to, or the class interest and the people his writing served, the underdog, or his interest in talking about the violence of law. Benjamin wrote exactly a century back in the 1920s, Benjamin wrote that there are two kinds of forces operate in cycle as a legal forces. Force, Gewalt is the term which Benjamin used in German, which represents both law as well as violence, as well as force. It's a complex word. So one that preserves the law and one that destroys the law. There is a conflict between these forces. One that destroys the law, which want to make a new law, and one that is interested in preserving the existing law. This is the conflict. This is the conflict today in this country. There is a force which wants to preserve the existing law, the constitution, and there is a force which wants to destroy this constitution and destroy this law and found a new law. This is precisely the cycle going on today. Now we know that the forces claim to be legal and unleash attack on this legitimate activity. This is the, we know which is and what force. And Benjamin also said that every law is founded on violence. And today there is an attempt to found a new law on the basis of Manuvadi law, which we all should resist legally within the constitution, and we should save our constitution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Parthasarathy. Thank you for recounting Dr. Hani Babu's serious engagement at CFL.